Think about this. Billions of years ago, the air you breathe didn't exist. No oxygen. Earth was a wild, toxic place. But somehow, life found a way. Curious? Stick around, because today we're diving into the story of Earth before oxygen.
Welcome to Earth's Archive. I'm Fleur, and we're exploring the hidden past of our planet, one astonishing chapter at a time.
Over 4 billion years ago, Earth was completely unrecognizable. The sky wasn't blue.
Oceans existed, but they were acidic and dark. And oxygen? Almost zero. The atmosphere was dominated by carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, and nitrogen. Breathing it would have been deadly for humans, or any modern animal, such as a golden retriever. They survived by eating chemicals from the rocks and oceans, a process called chemosynthesis. Early Earth formed from dust and gas in the solar system. Its first atmosphere, mostly hydrogen and helium, escaped into space.
What remained was created by volcanic outgassing, gases released from molten rock.
The main gases were carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, and nitrogen. The early atmosphere was toxic, thick, and hostile, perfect for microbes, but deadly for humans.
Around 3.8 to 4 billion years ago, the first life appeared: anaerobic microbes.
They survived without oxygen, using chemical reactions in the oceans.
Some formed thick microbial mats across the seabed, laying the groundwork for future life.
Then came the game changers, cyanobacteria. These microbes could perform photosynthesis,
using sunlight to make energy and releasing oxygen as a byproduct.
but oxygen didn't accumulate. It reacted with iron in the oceans, forming massive rust deposits called banded iron formations.
The oxygen was trapped, unable to enrich the atmosphere.
For almost 2 billion years, oxygen was a minor player. Microbes produced it, but it was immediately neutralized by minerals
like iron and sulfur.
Life remained mostly microbial. The planet's oceans and skies were hostile, alien worlds. Every rusted rock, every oxidized mineral, was a record of the silent battle between life and chemistry.
A battle that would eventually make Earth habitable.
Scientists study ancient rocks to understand early Earth. Sulfur isotopes act like chemical
Standing on early Earth would have been surreal. Volcanic skies, bubbling oceans,
and a world without the blue skies, green forests, or animals we know today.
Cyanobacteria were producing it in the oceans, but it was constantly absorbed by iron and sulfur.
The Earth's atmosphere was still hostile, and life was mostly microscopic.
Then, around 2.4 billion years ago, something incredible happened. Oxygen started to accumulate in the atmosphere. Then, around 2.4 billion years ago, something incredible happened. Oxygen started to accumulate in the atmosphere.
Scientists call this the Great Oxidation Event, or GOE, and it was a turning point in Earth's history.
At first, the change was subtle. Tiny increases in oxygen began reacting with minerals, slowly changing the chemistry of the oceans. Banded iron formations formed massive deposits, leaving a permanent record of this transformation in the rocks.
Eventually, oxygen began to escape the oceans and enter the atmosphere, creating an environment that had never existed before.
The consequences were enormous. For some organisms, oxygen was deadly. Anaerobic microbes, which had thrived for billions of years, faced mass extinction in some areas. Anaerobic microbes, which had thrived for billions of years, faced mass extinction in some areas.
But for others, oxygen offered a new opportunity. It allowed organisms to extract far more energy from
Oxygen also transformed Earth's surface. Iron rusted on a massive scale, shaping the geology in ways that still define our planet today.
volcanic skies began to interact differently with the atmosphere, and the chemistry of oceans slowly shifted from acidic to more stable, life-supporting conditions.
The rise of oxygen was not smooth. Evidence shows that oxygen levels fluctuated wildly for hundreds of
This whiplash created periods of extreme environmental stress, shaping evolution in ways we're still discovering today.
Despite these fluctuations, oxygen gradually became a permanent component of the atmosphere.
Once it reached a critical threshold, it opened the door to more complex life.
Organisms could now support higher metabolic rates, grow larger, and develop new structures. This set the stage for the eventual explosion of life, hundreds of millions of years later.
Some microbes evolved protective mechanisms, like enzymes that could neutralize reactive oxygen.
Others found ways to use oxygen to their advantage.
Meanwhile, the Earth's surface continued to evolve. Oceans began to host more diverse microbial communities.
Rocks and sediments preserved evidence of oxygen's gradual accumulation.
Even the faint hint of oxygen in the atmosphere changed the way sunlight interacted with the planet, affecting climate and weather patterns. It's incredible to imagine the Earth at this time, a planet still harsh and alien, but now breathing in small, invisible increments.
The air was not yet what we know today, but it was becoming something entirely new, something that could eventually support complex ecosystems. For scientists, this period is like a detective story. By studying ancient rocks, isotopes, and fossilized microbial mats, they piece together how oxygen slowly transformed the planet.
Each band of iron, each sulfur anomaly, tells a chapter in the story of life's struggle.
To survive and thrive in a changing world.
The Great Oxidation Event also had ripple effects across the planet.
As oxygen spread, it created new chemical pathways in the oceans and atmosphere.
Greenhouse gases shifted, climates cooled, and new ecological niches appeared.
Life began experimenting with new forms, gradually moving toward multicellularity. By the end of this period, the Earth was no longer an alien wasteland.
Oxygen levels were still far below today's, but the planet was fundamentally different.
It had started a journey toward habitability, creating conditions that would eventually allow plants, animals, and eventually humans to exist. So, that's the story of oxygen's rise. How tiny microbes changed the atmosphere, reshaped
The planet, and set the stage for complex life.
Once oxygen became a consistent part of the atmosphere, the planet underwent a profound transformation.
Life was no longer limited to tiny, single-celled organisms. Oxygen allowed cells to generate far more energy, which made larger and more complex organisms possible.
The oceans began to teem with microbial diversity, but now new opportunities emerged for organisms that could use oxygen for metabolism. This energy boost allowed life to experiment with new forms, leading to the earliest eukaryotes, cells with nuclei and internal structures.
These were the building blocks of all complex life to come.
With oxygen came the ability to build multicellular organisms. Cells could now specialize,
work together, and create structures far more sophisticated than any single cell could achieve alone.
Simple multicellular life began to appear in the oceans, laying the foundation for future plants, animals, and eventually, us.
But oxygen wasn't just a biological game changer. It also reshaped the planet's surface.
Iron deposits slowed, rusted landscapes became more stable, and the chemistry of oceans shifted to support more diverse ecosystems.
Weather patterns changed, climates stabilized, and ecosystems became more structured. Interestingly, oxygen also introduced a new challenge. It could be toxic.
Reactive oxygen species could damage cells, and organisms had to evolve ways to protect themselves.
Antioxidant enzymes appeared, and metabolic pathways adapted.
Life had to innovate to survive, and innovation became the key to thriving in this new world.
By the time oxygen levels approached even a fraction of what we have today, Earth was a completely different planet.
Life was no longer hidden in microbial mats. It was beginning to explore new forms. From simple multicellular creatures to the first true ecosystems.
Coral-like structures, microbial reefs, and primitive plankton communities began to take shape,
Hinting at the incredible diversity yet to come.
This period also set the stage for some of the most dramatic evolutionary events in Earth's history. Oxygen allowed organisms to grow larger, develop new metabolisms, and create more complex interactions.
Predation, mobility, and specialized niches became possible, slowly transforming the oceans from microbial
Blankets to intricate, multi-layered ecosystems.
The rise of oxygen didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual, uneven process.
We navigated the fluctuations of the early days, facing challenges and enduring setbacks that ultimately shaped our path.
But each step brought the planet closer to habitability as we know it. Without this slow buildup,
Life could never have reached the complexity necessary for the vast diversity of organisms we see today.
By the end of this story, it's clear how critical oxygen was. From microscopic cyanobacteria producing the first traces to the first multicellular organisms.
navigating oxygenated oceans, this element changed everything.
It shaped life, the environment, and ultimately, the possibility of intelligent species billions of years later. It shaped life, the environment, and ultimately, the possibility of intelligent species billions of years later.
So, that's the incredible journey of Earth's first breaths. How a planet once hostile and
Toxic became a cradle for life as we know it. Every breath you take began here. Subscribe now and journey deeper into Earth's hidden past, only on Earth's Archive.